on the camera. She will see the libero come in, Jasa Russell. And across the way, the libero will be Lilo Larzalier. And she is wearing the bright blue uniform, and it looks like she will be serving first. Lilo Larzalier from Covington, Louisiana. And she will deal it first here, and we will be underway on NAIA television on Friday night, one of the most exciting nights in NAIA volleyball. Semifinals and championships are tomorrow. Larzalier puts it in play back to Russell. Here's the set to the outside. The swing is covered by Lindsey Wilson, pushed over by Peters, covered by Lindsey Wilson, swept into the air by Russell. And to the floor on the front row for Midland. Ellie Burke puts it down, number 13. And into the game to serve. That's actually Brooke Fredrickson. Brooke Fredrickson gets the kill. And back to serve, Fredrickson. Fredrickson sets on the right side, loads up the serve, sends it straight back. Perfect pass to the setter. Opposite to Ellie Burke. Tipped over the top of the block by Midland. Here's the bump set to the outside. Bounce back by Midland. Once again to the outside, off the top of the block. Covered on the back row by Midland. And the set back to Fredrickson is missed. Fredrickson can't dial it in on the back line, and we have a 1-1 game. Lindsey Wilson and Midland are underway as they are trying to book one of the final tickets to the semifinals tomorrow. Ellie Burke will go back to serve. She takes it back to Fredrickson. The set by Peters into the block, and it's a lost block for Midland, or for Lindsey Wilson, and Midland takes the 2-1 lead. And back to serve, Jenny Baer. Baer sets up in the middle of the floor, puts it in play to the opposite corner, swept into the air by Mikelova. Here's the set back to Mikelova. She hits the back line from the back row. And we are tied up at 2. Into the game for Lindsey Wilson comes Sarah Cruz. And back to serve, Klara Mikelova. Klara Mikelova puts it back to Jasa Russell. Lindsey Wilson on the attack. Tipped over by Sarah Cruz, and she misses. Or actually gets it, and that's off the block. So a touch at the net gives that point to Midland. Jessica Peters back to serve. Sends it deep. Passed up by the libero. Pushed over, swept into the air, and that's out of reach for Lindsey Wilson, and Midland is tied up at 3. Priscilla O'Dowd back to serve for the Warriors. And O'Dowd sends it straight down the line to Klara Mikelova. Push to the back corner. It's going to be on the floor. Lindsey Wilson scores with a seeing eye tip to the back corner. Fredrickson gave chase, couldn't get there. And back to serve for the Blue Raiders, Peyton Johnson. And the Blue Raiders want to say hi to Jessica Cavins tuning in tonight in Texas. And they hope that you have a reason to come over here tomorrow if Lindsey Wilson pulls this one out. And give the ace to Shelby Bretschneider. Peyton Johnson back to serve. It's a 5-3 lead for Lindsey Wilson. Johnston loads it up from the back right corner. Shoots it short. Russell gets under it to the outside. A miss for Midland from Taylor Peterson. Sends that a little bit long out the back door, and it's 6-4. Lindsey Wilson. Actually, a touch at the net called on that one. So that one came back to Midland on the touch at the net. 1 block so far for Midland. And back in the game comes the libero, Lilo Lazzolari. Back to serve Jessica Peters. Peters puts it in play in the middle back. Here's the slide set. Off the block and down. And score it for Keisha Nadirla. And Lindsey Wilson is up by 2, 6-4. Autumn Proctor back to serve. All the way back to Priscilla O'Dowd. Trouble handling the ball for Midland, and Lindsey Wilson takes their 7th point. Back to serve again goes Autumn Proctor, the freshman setter. And Proctor will send it cross court. Priscilla O'Dowd, better pass that time, and a hammer from the outside scores for Midland. As that one finds the floor from Sydney Morehouse, a sophomore middle. That will put the serve in the hands of Midland. And back to serve for Midland, Taylor Peterson. The set from the outside, that's down for Sarah Cruz. The hitters having their way in the early going. Lindsey Wilson hitting .333 and Midland .222. And back to serve for Lindsey Wilson, Nathala DeSouza. 5-3. Midland with the lead, 8-5 rather. Midland trailing by 3. Here's the set to Cheyenne Smith. She's dug out by the Blue Raiders. Tipped over the top by Mikelova. And she misses. And back to serve will go DeSouza. DeSouza sets up deep in the right corner. 9-5 Lindsey Wilson. DeSouza sends it to the middle back. A long run, scramble, and it finally goes over to the Blue Raiders. The set to the middle, pushed over, covered by Midland. Free ball by Priscilla O'Dowd. Back to the middle, saved on the back line by Jaza Russell. Kept off the floor by the libero from Lindsey Wilson. Here's the set to the middle, pushed back by the block of Lindsey Wilson. Back to the outside, pushed back by the block of Lindsey Wilson. Once again, into the net this time for Midland. Jenny Baer can't get it through that block. And with the score 10-5, Lindsey Wilson, Paul Geiselman calls the timeout. And we are back in a moment. Six kills in 13 swings for Lindsey Wilson to start it out. One error, 385 for Midland. 4 kills, 14 attempts, 3 errors, 0-7-1 in the first third of this first set. 10-5, Lindsey Wilson. Midland trying to play for Saturday morning volleyball here at the Gateway Arena. And they hope to have a huge crowd here tomorrow if they are able to earn their way to the Saturday morning berth. And that will be at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning right here on this court. Midland released from the timeout by Paul Geiselman. And back to serve for Lindsey Wilson, DeSouza. DeSouza has the signal, focuses, launches. Back to Priscilla O'Dowd, the set to the outside. Cheyenne Smith is dug out. Lazarli, bump set. And the kill is down for Lindsey Wilson from Klara Mikelova. And it's 10-6. In the game to serve for Midland. After that missed serve, I'm sorry about that, but the missed kill attempt is Amber Pribble. Pribble puts it in play. Swept up into the air by DeSouza. Big swing at the net by Ellie Burke. To the other side, and Cheyenne Smith gets the back line. And Midland fighting back. It's 10-7. Mackenzie Wecker back to serve for the Warriors. Wecker, middle of the floor, sends it back to Lazarli. To the outside. Big swing from Mikelova. That's into the block. Stuffer for Midland. It's 11-7. Midland within 4 against Lindsey Wilson. Lindsey Wilson put together a 33-3 mark on the year. Lilo Lazarli back to serve. And she will get the signal from Coach Cavens and put it in play. Lazarli from the left side. Puts it in play, misses out the back door. Mackenzie Wecker watches it go by. In the game for the Warriors, Brooke Fredrickson. So Brooke will go back to serve for the Warriors. It's a 3-point lead for Lindsey Wilson. Fredrickson from the back corner throws the high toss. Explodes into the ball, into the back corner. Perfect cover for Mikelova. Mikelova gets the setback, popped up in the air by Mikelova. Pushed over, covered by DeSouza. On the front row, Grace Blomstad gets dug out. Back to Grace Blomstad. Midland on the attack. Knocked back by Blomstad. Fredrickson runs it down. Free ball from the back row by Jaisa Russell. The little tip over the top is covered on the swing by Mikelova. To the other side, we're still going as Russell gets that one and then pushed to the floor held by Priscilla O'Dowd. Priscilla O'Dowd finally had a seam to work with, and she gets it to the floor, and the lead is down to 2, 11-9. And back to serve for Midland, Brooke Fredrickson, and she doesn't get it over the net. 12-9, 3-point lead again for Lindsey Wilson on the service error. Ellie Burke goes back to serve for Lindsey Wilson's Blue Raiders. Burke deals it back to Fredrickson. Perfect pass up to the center, to the opposite side. Jenny Baer gets passed up. Outside again to Mikelova. And she gets the kill down. 13-9, Lindsey Wilson back up by 4. Ellie Burke back to serve. Burke walks into her serve, sends it back to Fredrickson. She plays it with her knee out of bounds, swept into the air. Fredrickson back row attack. DeSouza there with a dig. To the outside, and that is down on the cross by Mikelova. And Lindsey Wilson rolling, and they're out to the 5-point lead. And continuing to serve for Lindsey Wilson, Ellie Burke. Midland needs to get her out of the service rotation. She's pushing the point. Slide set. That's on the floor for Midland. Priscilla O'Dowd chases that one to the floor. She's one of the best hitters in the country in the NAIA statistics. And Jenny Baer back to serve. 14-10, Lindsey Wilson over Midland. Just over the net. Mikelova pushed over to Fredrickson. The slide set to O'Dowd. Off the block and give the block to Lindsey Wilson as Grace Blomstad got over there and shut it down. And a substitution in the game for Lindsey Wilson as Sarah Cruz comes in from the Czech Republic. Mikelova back to serve. She'll take it cross court. Russell is there. The set to the opposite side. Knocked back by the block of Lindsey Wilson on the swing by Peterson. Push over the net for the libero, and off the block and down. That's a kill for Sarah Cruz. 15-10. Paul Geiselman wants to visit again as he is seeing his team go south. Actually 16-10. The lead to Lindsey Wilson, and we're back in a moment. One block for Midland, one block for Lindsey Wilson. So far, Lindsey Wilson hitting a comfortable .320 on 10 swings, 2 errors, 25 swings, 10 kills. 7 kills for Midland in 25 swings. They're hitting .120. And the leaders on the floor, 5 for Klara Mikelova from Lindsey Wilson. And Mikelova waits to serve. Mikelova stands just in front of the barrier. Boy, a huge crowd here for the last match as the Dordt defenders were playing. They have taken a seat for the season. Russell has the pass to the outside. Tipped off the top of the block and a miss for Taylor Peterson. And it's 17-10. Lindsey Wilson running away with his first set. Mikelova back to serve for the Blue Raiders. Mikelova can't get it over the net. Service error and side out for the Warriors. Ellie Burke moves over to the left back and in to serve Priscilla O'Dowd. Priscilla is a 6'1" middle. She'll take it back to Mikelova. The set to the outside, pushed over the top on the Sarah Cruz swing, covered by Midland, and that's blocked back by Grace Blomstad for the stuffer. 18-11. Grace goes up tall, knocks it down. Keisha Nadirla in the game now in the front row for Lindsey Wilson. And back to serve, Peyton Johnson. And Johnson puts it in play, covered on the front row, and then pushed over on the attack by Morehouse. A push at the net, won by Lindsey Wilson. And Soboleska goes up and shuts it down on that push at the net between her and the setter from Midland. Peyton Johnston back to serve for the Blue Raiders. And Johnston shoots the high one, never gets to the net. And a service error gives the side out to Midland. 19-12 now in the first set between Lindsey Wilson and Midland. Jessica Peters back to serve. She's the setter. And she misses out the back door. And Lindsey Wilson's at 20-12. Lindsey Wilson back to serve. Autumn Proctor, the setter, goes back to serve. She'll take it cross court. Priscilla O'Dowd has the pass. The quick in the middle, covered by Lindsey Wilson. To the backside. And off the block and down for Taylor Peterson. 20-13. Midland fighting their way to the finish of this one. Lindsey Wilson with a 7-point lead. Nicole Skovsendi goes back to serve for Midland's Warriors. Punched up in the air by Mikelova. And the attack by Mikelova covered by Midland. Back to the outside, swept into the air by Skovsendi, and then pushed out the back door by Abby Grubbs. As Abby can't find the back line. And Lindsey Wilson scores that point on the tip. So a tip is called, and that turns actually out the back door, and the mistake will put Lindsey Wilson on the service line. And back to serve goes Nathalia DeSouza. And DeSouza sends it back to Jenny Bear. There's the swing and the stuff back by Mikelova, saved on the deflection by the libero, and then pushed to the floor on the reload to Soboleska. 22-13. Back to serve goes Nathalia DeSouza. Lindsey Wilson just 3 points away in the first set. DeSouza launches it deep to Priscilla O'Dowd. She gets there to the outside. Tool off the block for Jenny Bear. And a side out for Midland, 22-14. And into the game for Midland will hustle Mackenzie Wecker. Lindsey Wilson just 3 points away from a solid first set win. Here's Wecker. Sends it to the backside. DeSouza pushes it over and through the block of Midland for the 23rd point. And back to serve goes Lilo Lazarle. 23-14 Lindsey Wilson. Lazarle back to serve. Trying to take her team 1 point closer. Lazarle loads it up from the left side. That flips off the net. Good cover for Russell. Another good cover for Russell. Swept over the net beautifully by Wecker. Tipped over the block for Blomstead, and a net violation, I believe. Yep, they call a net violation on Lindsey Wilson. So Lindsey Wilson not able to move closer on that play, and they hold steady at 23 as back to serve goes Fredrickson for Midland. Brooke Fredrickson back to serve. 23-15 in the first set. We're on quarterfinal night, our last round. And across the way, Park is up by 2 on Southern Oregon. Brooke Fredrickson waits, and she will deal. She will come out of your railing and launch the high toss. Put some overspin on it. Two players converge. The quick to Blomstad into the open corner. Gorgeous touch by Gracie Blomstad to get Lindsey Wilson to 24. And back to serve Ellie Burke. Set point coming up for Lindsey Wilson. They try to put Midland away in the first set. The set to the outside. Big swing is on the floor from Jenny Bear. Huge knee brace. That's got to be a factor when she jumps, but so far she has been effective as she has already got 3 kills and 8 swings, hitting .250, and Bear goes back to serve for the Warriors. Jenny Bear sent it to the backside to Lazarle. Here's the set to Mikelova, and she gets the finisher. Mikelova tools it off the block and finishes up the first set 25-16. Andy Caven's Blue Raiders take the first set, and we're back in a moment.